Jagadeeshwara Shastri was a great Sanskrit scholar. He was known as the Asthana Vidwan in Bhagavan's court, Samskrita Vidwan, just like Kavyakanta. At a very young age, he came to Bhagavan. He had met him in Virupaksha cave also. He was teaching Sanskrit in the town for some time. And one day, he was writing something but not able to continue. He was struggling. He was sitting in front of Bhagavan in Virupaksha Guha. He was not able to continue. Bhagavan was observing him for some time and then said, "What is it that you are writing?" Then Jagadeesa Shastri told him, "This word came to my heart, but I am not able to continue. I just put down these words, but I am not able to continue." "Oh, is that so? Show me that paper." And then that is how that great song Hridaya Kuhara Madhye came about. He wrote Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, but was not able to continue beyond that. He went out and came back maybe after some time. And meanwhile, Bhagavan has completed that verse, and then we today have that verse Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Hyaham Aham iti Sakshat Atma Rupe Nabhati Hridi Visha Manasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavana Chalana Rodha Atmanishto Bhavatvam. This is a self-standing verse. It was later incorporated into the Ulladinarpada Anubandham. This is one of the three Muktakatrayas. They say that there are three verses that Bhagavan composed, self-standing verses, which by themselves, each one of them by itself can give mukti to somebody. One can contemplate on it and then understand the meaning of it. And this is one of them. The other two we know is Deham, Naham, Koham, Soham. That particular verse is the second one. The third one is Ekam Aksharam, Hridi Nirantaram, Bhasate Swayam, Likhyate Katam. My intention is not to go into these verses, but the fact that Jagadishwara Shastri started it and Bhagavan finished that verse, and after finishing that in that paper, underneath he wrote Jagadeesan. Jagadeesha Shastri came back and Bhagavan showed him the paper and said, "Look at this. See if it is okay." Jagadeesha Shastri was overwhelmed by seeing that verse, so beautiful. And then he asked Bhagavan, "Bhagavan, you have put Jagadeesha underneath that. Why that? You wrote the entire poem." It seems Bhagavan cryptically remarked, "Jagadeesha only started it." We can take it to mean that Bhagavan was not meaning the person that was Jagadeesha, but the universal being. Jagadeesha only started it. That's how he said. Jagadeesha Shastri wrote a number of works. He has translated Nanyar into Sanskritam, called it as Koham. It is one of the most beautiful translations in Sanskrit. If one goes through that translation, it would read like Upanishads, the Upanishads of yore. When one Rishi talks to his disciple, the same way he has. So beautiful translation. But he is more known for a creation known as Prapatti Ashtakam. When he was about 50 or so, the early 40s, he started losing weight, and he was not able to digest anything. He felt very sick. He went to a doctor and they diagnosed it and then found that it was terminal cancer. And the doctor said, "You don't have much time to live. Few days, maybe a few weeks, but not more than that." So it was a little difficult for that young man. He was hardly in his 50s to digest. But then his mind decided, these remaining days I will spend my time thinking about Bhagavan. And he wrote 8 beautiful verses. They are known as Prapatti Ashtakam. Every verse would have This word prapadye repeated a number of times. Avartapuryam janitam prapadye pandye sadeshe vihritam prapadye shonachala prastacharam prapadye bhikshum tapah klesha saham prapadye. Like that it goes on. Prapadye, prapadye, prapadye. Prapadye means I surrender to you, my Lord. Prapadye is actually a Vaishnavite term. Vaishnavites, they use this word Prapatti. Whereas we generally use Sharanagati, they say Prapatti. This is because in the Vaishnavite literature, basically Ramayanam, Mahabharatam, Puranas, the Varaha Puranam, there this particular word is mentioned and it is considered to be the holiest of mantras for them. They are known as Charama Shlokas. Charama Shlokas are declarations or assurances given by God or sages, great Mahatmas. Whatever declarations they give towards the end of their life, it is known as a Charama Shlokam. And the famous Charama Shlokams are one in Ramayana and one in Mahabharatam, in Bhagavad Gita. In Ramayanam, when Vibhishana wants to surrender to Rama, he gets separated from Ravana. He does not want to be with him. He is waging a very unholy war. I do not want to be with you. He comes to Rama. He wants to surrender. Along with some two or other demons are also there. The Rakshasas are standing in the sky and Rama is near the coast, about to build the bridge and then cross over to Lanka. At that time, Vibhishana comes. And then he says, I want to surrender to you. I do not want to be with my brother. Then Rama asks the others, do we take him? He consults the others. He asks Sugriva. Sugriva says, no, very suspicious. We should not do this mistake. And he asks everybody. Everybody says, no, let us not take him. But Hanuman says, he looks very sincere. And he says, I have surrendered to you. So I think we can take him. Afterwards, Rama utters this particular Charama Shlokam. It's very, very popular for the Vaishnavites. Sakrideva Prapannaya, the word Prapannam used to use Prapatti, Prapannam. Sakrideva Prapannaya, Tavasmi Iticha Yachate. If somebody says, I am yours, Sakrideva Prapannaya, if somebody surrenders to me wholeheartedly, and if he says, I am yours, Tavasmi Iticha Yachate, if somebody begs in that manner, Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo, Sarvabhutebhyo, without looking for any qualification, I give Abhaya, I give fearlessness, I give shelter to them. Etad Vratam Mama, he says, this is my Vratam. He declares, this is my Vratam. This is my oath. I do not distinguish. If somebody says, I surrender to you, I give him shelter. So this is considered. And the word Prapanna occurs here. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, actually the teachings, they begin in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. First chapter is all about, the two armies, description about the armies. And the second chapter, the actual teachings begin. But even there, first few verses are Arjuna's verses, where he continues to lament, should I kill my gurus? Should I kill all these elderly people? And am I not incurring sin? And he is lamenting and he does not know. He is very confused. He does not have any clarity of mind. But in the 7th verse, in the second chapter, he says, I am so confused, Krishna. Sishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam, he says. Please take me as your disciple. All along he has been considering Krishna as his friend actually. A relative, a friend. But now he says, Sishyasteham, I am your disciple. Shadhi, please protect me. I am fit to be protected by you. Prapannam, I have surrendered to you, my Lord. Shadhimam tvam prapannam. And then the Bhagavad Gita begins. Actually, on the 10th verse onwards, Bhagavad Gita begins and the teachings, they actually begin. And at the end, the Charama Shlokam comes in. Bhagavad Gita, it is a very popular Shlokam. He says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Give up everything. Give up everything in life. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja. Surrender to me alone. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. From all sins, I will release you. Ma suchaha, don't worry. This is what he says. Mamekam sharanam praja. That is the saranagati, that is the prapannam, that is the prapatti. So the second one, this second charama shlokam of Vaishnavates is this particular slokam. A devotee asked Bhagavan, Krishna says, Mamekam sharanam braja. Does it mean that we get to this liberation only through Krishna? Mamekam. Only through me, he says. Then seems Bhagavan laughed and said, no. When avatars and great sages, they say I, they do not refer to the personal I. They refer to the universal I. You find so many statements in Bible also, where Jesus Christ says so many things. Bhagavan says, when a great Mahatma says I, he does not refer to that body which is a limited condition. They refer to the universal I. So here actually Bhagavan made a small correction, not a correction. He says the correct way to understand this verse is, instead of understanding as Mam Ekam, only through me, that is the actual meaning in Sanskrit, you just say Ekam Mam. It gives a totally different meaning. Ekam Mam. You surrender to me, the one. Then it becomes universal. That one divine spirit alone is there. You call it by any name in any religion, you just surrender to that one. So take it as Ekam Mam Sharanam Braja. That is the right way to look at the verse, Bhagavan said. Anyway, this is the second Charama Shlokam. So these Charama Shlokas, they talk about Prapatti, and the entire 8 verses that Jagadeesa Shastri wrote, Prapadye, Prapadye, Prapadye. The last verse is really a very moving verse. He says, Shivam Prapadye. I bow down to Shiva. Shivadam Prapadye. Shivadam. One who gives Shivahood. Not only are you Shiva, you make others also like you. Shivadam Prapadye. Gurum Prapadye. Guninam Prapadye. Madiya Hrit Padma Jusham Prapadye. Sharanyamisham Sharanam Prapadye. You live in my heart, I surrender to you, my Lord. So with complete bhavam of surrender, he wrote these verses. Shivadam Prapadye. A Sadguru will make his Shishya as his own. It gives him the same state that he is enjoying. All other gurus will like to keep the Shishya one level below. But the Sadguru, he makes you as himself. Muruganar says there is a reason why Bhagavan did this. He gave a taste of his own state for a reason, he says. In one of the verses in Ramana Tiruvambavai, of course, Margazhi has begun. In Ramana Tiruvambavai, Muruganar says in one place, Ullarkariya Urumayan. His ekatva bhavam, orumayan, that state of oneness where he did not see any other, that is unimaginable. Ullar kariya urumayan, onralum tallar kariya mulu tattvattan, he says. It is not possible to refute the logic of Bhagavan. Tallar kariya mulu tattvattan. His tattvam cannot be refuted by any means. If somebody gives an argument, it is possible to argue against that argument. If somebody says, this is my perception, one can argue against that. If somebody says, this is my philosophy, one can argue against that. Arguments can be against arguments and perceptions. But can there be an argument against experience? Can anybody say, no, you can't be having that experience? Or can you deny your own experience? You may have so many things about, objections to somebody's philosophy, somebody's, logic, somebody's method of saying something, presenting something. But if that experience is given to you, can you have any argument against it? When Muruganar says, Tallar Kariya Mudu Tattuvattan, Bhagavan used to give the state that people are arguing against. He makes them feel, makes them experience the same thing that he experienced all the time. Thereafter, then, no further arguments, no further thinking, no further, saying. This was used to happen to people. So here, Jagadeesa Shastri says, Shivam Prapadye, Shivadam Prapadye. He gave Shivahood. So that what final result is? Just maunam and just the enjoyment of that. Gurum Prapadye, Guninam Prapadye. Madi Yahrit Padmajusham Prapadye. Sharanyamisham Sharanam Prapadye. Sharanyam Isham Sharanam Prapadye, says Jagadeeshwara Shastri. After a few days, he started becoming stronger and stronger. He was able to hold the food that he was putting in. He was able to digest. And he was actually becoming better. And when he went to the doctor said, we are not able to find a trace of this disease. They were amazed. Not able to find a trace of this disease, they said. That's why amongst the Ramana fraternity, all the devotees of Ramana, this Prapatti Ashtakam holds a very important place. Because by constantly repeating this, many devotees have found relief. Relief from bodily ailments, relief from mental ailments. So it becomes a very important part of the Parayanam of many of the devotees. Jagadeeshwara Shastri also wrote Ramana Sahastranama, 1,000 names of Bhagavan. Beautiful. It actually goes like Lalita Sahastranama. This Jagadeeshwara Shastri's Ramana Sahastranamam, the 1,000 names, beautiful verses. And in the end, he comes out with a verse which is really beautiful. When we give a Sahastranamam about a god, normally gods are described with having weapons. One will be having Gada, Shank, Chakram, all these things people will be having. The gods will be having. That's how it is described everywhere. So he gives some Aidam, some Astram to Bhagavan also. Some weapons are given to Bhagavan by Jagadeeshwara Shastri. He says, Koham Marga Dhanushpanihi. His Astram, Dhanushpanihi, his bow and arrow is Koham Margam. Everybody, whoever goes to him, Koham. Who is it that is having this doubt? And then he goes on to say, Naham Tattva Sudarshanaha. This Tattvam, Naham, I cannot be this, I cannot be that. Clearly it tells you it cannot be you cannot be the body, you cannot be the mind. The body keeps on changing, the mind keeps on changing, you cannot be this. So, Naham Tattva Sudarshanaha. His weapon is, his Sudarshanam is Naham. Soham Bodha Mahashankaha. Soham Bodham. Soham. I am that. And he really like a conch, he blew this all the time. He was blowing this particular Tattvam, Soham. So, Bhagavan Ramanovatu, like that the verse ends. Ramana Sahasranamam is another great work of Jagadeeshwara Shastri. There was a very interesting incident in his life which he mentioned very many years later after Bhagavan's Mahanirvanam. He was walking with Bhagavan one day and it was a very hot day and Bhagavan does not wear any chappals. So because he was going with Bhagavan, he also did not wear any chappals. No footwear at all. He was going with him and they went into the rocky area and it was burning. He was not able to bear. So he started crying out to Bhagavan, Bhagavan, it's very hard. It seems Bhagavan looked at him, why? Why should it be so hard? I am able to walk. We can also walk. No, no, Bhagavan, you are different. No, no, no. How can I be different? I am having the same 2 legs that you are having. So don't say that impossible, Bhagavan. It is raining fire all around me. I cannot move any further. At that time, it seems Bhagavan told him, I will give you a secret. Listen to me very carefully. Can sun feel any hot? Any heat? Can he feel hot? Sun, who is the producer of heat, he cannot be feeling any heat. So have in your mind the bhavam that I am sun itself. And I will give you this small mantra. Keep on repeating it. Suryosmi, I am Surya, Suryosmi, Suryosmi. Since Bhagavan said that, and Jagadeesa Shastri started saying that within about 1 or 2 minutes, I believe, his body started feeling, cool, and everything was pleasant, and I believe he was able to walk with Bhagavan without any problem at all. And the miraculous thing is it continued. He did not have to do it again. That mantram also did not have to repeat it. Once and for all, his ability to withstand heat was there. This he revealed once in Bombay to another devotee by name Chagandal Yogi. He was a great devotee. He was in Bombay at that time. They met maybe in the early 60s or early 70s. They were walking and then he noticed that Jagadeesa Shastri was not wearing any footwear at all. Yogi asked him, I believe, Chagannal Yogi, how are you able to walk like this? And then he related all these things. And he said, once and for all. In the olden times in Ramayana Mandal, we know that Vishwamitra taught some 2 mantras to Rama and Lakshmana when he was taking them to, for the protection of his yajnam. It was known as Bala and Ati Bala. 2 mantrams were taught to them. He said, in the forest you will not find food. you cannot get water also. I will give you these 2 mantras, so you will be able to conquer your hunger and your thirst. And he taught them this Bala and Ati Bala. It is mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana. In a similar way, this Siddhi was so easily taught by Bhagavan to Jagadeesa Shastri. He lived up to the age of 89. More than 35 years after the doctors gave him up. And then he reached the holy feet of Bhagavan. This is Jagadeesa Shastri. The reason why I mentioned about him is this Prapatti Ashtakam. It comes as a great aid to people. Keep on repeating it. Keeps the mind cool and so on.
आवर्तपुर्यां जनितं प्रपद्ये पाण्डेशदेशे विहृतं प्रपद्ये शोणाचलप्रस्थचरं प्रपद्ये भिक्षुं तपः क्लेशसहं प्रपद्ये आब्रह्मकीटान्तसमं प्रपद्ये चितारि षड्वर्गमहं प्रपद्ये सर्वज्ञतासारभृतं प्रपद्ये निस्सीमकारुण्यनिधिं प्रपद्ये अस्मात् प्रपञ्चादधिकं प्रपद्ये विश्वाधिकोत्ते विषयं प्रपद्ये कालग्रहग्राहभयापनुत्यै कृतान्तशिक्षाकृतिनं प्रपद्ये विनेतुमार्तिं विषयाध्वजन्यां विज्ञानमूर्तिं दधतं प्रपद्ये कन्दर्पदर्पज्वरवारणाय कामारिलीलावतरं प्रपद्ये आजन्मवर्णीव्रतिनं प्रपद्ये कुण्डीभृतं दण्डधरं प्रपद्ये ब्रह्मासनध्यानरतं प्रपद्ये ब्रह्मात्मभूयं यतिनं प्रपद्ये हरं प्रपद्ये विजरं प्रपद्ये स्वतन्त्रताया सदनं प्रपद्ये अमेयसामर्थ्यवहं प्रपद्ये विशुद्धविज्ञानिवरं प्रपद्ये दौर्भाग्यतापत्रयकर्ममोह सन्तापहन्तारमहं प्रपद्ये यथार्थसङ्कल्पमपेतपापम् अवाप्तकामं विशुचं प्रपद्ये मनःप्रसादं भजतां ददानं मुग्धस्मितोल्लासिमुखं प्रपद्ये व्यथामशेषां व्यपनीयमोदप्रदेन नाम्ना रमणं प्रपद्ये शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवदं प्रपद्ये गुरुं प्रपद्ये गुणिनं प्रपद्ये मदीयहृत्पद्मजुषं प्रपद्ये शरण्यमीशं शरणं प्रपद्ये शरण्यमीशं शरणं प्रपद्ये शरण्यमीशं शरणं प्रपद्ये प्रपत्तिं रमणस्यैतां तन्वतां तत्त्वदर्शिनः तत्क्रतुञ्जाय रसिकाः तत्तादृशफलाप्तये।